All right, y'all. So I went over some props that we can incorporate in our class. You might want to have a chair at some point when we do our standing poses, a couple different size pillows, a bath towel, some type of eye covering when we get towards the end of class. So continued thank you to all of you for your support. It's so appreciated. For Austin Yoga Tree and Jonathan and Adith doing all the behind the scenes work, and Vicky as well. So appreciate all of y'all. I will ask that we mute our mics at this point so it doesn't jump around on our screens, but you can leave your videos on. I like to have you guys up in your little bubbles. I can see you. And then we're gonna get started today in child's pose. So if you have a certain variation of child's pose that feels best for your body, by all means, go into it. If you want to go a little deeper for those hips and the low back, wide knee child's pose is a great alternative. So opening our knees wider than our hips, bringing the toes to touch behind us, dropping those hips to the heels. If we want to get a shoulder stretch right away as well, spread your fingers nice and wide. Slide those hands forward as you extend your sit bones back. Keep your hands a little wider than your shoulders. You can keep that extension through the arms so that the elbows are actually floating from the floor. And then melt the belly, the heart, and the head to the ground. So give us a moment to get situated here in our space. If the head is not touching the ground, fold your arms underneath the forehead or place some type of prop under the forehead. We do want the head to be grounded. If this is too much compression for the knees, place a pillow behind you or a folded blanket to sit on, or simply keep your hips up in the air and rest down on your forearms. So we'll take a moment here to let our bodies start to settle down and prepare ourselves for our practice today. Taking a moment to center and reconnect with the body, the breath, and the brain. So we'll feel a nice stretch through that low back, the area around the hips. Again, let the heart melt towards the ground. If the forehead is comfortable on the ground, feel free to gently rock it side to side. So child's pose can be beneficial for tension headaches. Child's pose reduces our stress levels and helps improve the quality of our sleep. So really great pose for the whole body and mind. Continue to move through the body, letting go of any tension or tightness. Let's also acknowledge any areas we might be feeling today that maybe are a little tighter than normal. Any areas that we're taking care of, we can pause on those areas, let them relax, remembering that we each have permission to modify and adjust our practice accordingly. Never forcing or pushing our body into a pose, but instead turning our practice into a moving meditation where we practice santosha, contentment, and ahimsa, nonviolence towards ourselves and our bodies. Continue to let the body absorb this pose as we spread awareness to the breath. Simply observe and watch your body breathe in. And observe and watch the body breathe out. Notice where the breath is moving in the body around this pose. We might feel it more through the rib cage or even the back of the body. Our inhales, we fill ourselves up this morning with some fresh air, prana, and energy. And those exhales are just as important to clean everything out, exhaling away stale old air and energy. Breathing as smoothly and evenly in and out through the nose. Let's now spread our awareness to any thoughts, feelings, or sensations floating around us today. And remembering we're just observing without judgment, without labeling anything good or bad. We're just acting as a witness, looking from the outside in. Let's all cycle through one more nice big breath. This can be our biggest breath of our morning yet. So on that next inhale, really take your time to fill yourself up from the bottom all the way to the top. Maybe even the abdomen expands a little bit. And next exhale, breathe it all the way out. Empty, empty, empty. Every last drop. And then on our inhale, we'll float our head up and bring our body up, and we'll move right into tabletop pose. So you'll need to reorganize your knees, place extra cushion underneath the knees and shins. Fingers are still wide, hands are as broad as the shoulders. Stack your joints, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Little bit of space between your feet and your knees so they're hips width apart. Keeping that drishti just slightly forward so the neck stays long. Draw the low belly in, stabilize your low back and your hips, and give your right foot a stretch back behind you. So the foot's to the floor, and we're shifting our weight back through that heel to open up the eye of the knee, getting the blood to rush back down through the legs. So child's pose is beneficial for our knee joints as well, and we get the benefit when we release the pose. Drop the right knee down, keep your hips steady and level, stretch your left foot back, take a couple breaths here. You're shifting your weight back to that heel as much as you want. The hands should be equally weighted. Continue to root through the mound of the index finger and thumb. And bring the left knee down. Re-extend the right leg behind you, but this time activate the muscles along the back of the body to hover the right leg parallel to the floor. The toes will point straight down towards the ground. Working into a little bit of balance, so again, stay connected to those lower abdominal muscles. Reach the left arm forward, palm in, thumb up. Spinal integration. The breath continues to flow smoothly and evenly. Next inhale, try to lift that leg and arm up a little bit higher to strengthen the back a little bit more. Exhale brings the hand and the knee down. Should not be a big shift in the body. If you notice your hips shifting suddenly, engage a little bit more through the core. Extend left leg back. Squeeze the muscles of the back to hover the left leg parallel to the floor. Nice active foot, toes pointing down to the ground. Adding that right arm, reach it forward from the shoulder. Feel your balance, concentrate, but keep the breath flowing. Next inhale, try to lift that arm and leg a little higher to strengthen the back line. Exhale, bring that hand and knee down. So we'll do some hip rolls here to loosen up the area of the hips. On the exhale, just draw your hips back towards your heels. Roll your hips over to the left, and then roll your body forward. And walk your hands maybe slightly more forward if you want to make a bigger circle. And then the hips will move over to the right and back. So you're just drawing a circle with the hips clockwise here. If you want to make it a little bit more divey and dippy through those shoulders, the head of the neck, you can just move naturally with however the body wants to loosen up here. One more this direction. And then we'll reverse. So you'll start to bring your hips back over to the right, forward, shifting shoulders over wrists, and to the left and back. Going counterclockwise now. Continue to press up through the first knuckles and those fingertips to take pressure out of the wrists. And you're just dipping and diving around in the pose, loosening up the shoulders, the head, and the neck. One more this direction. Next time those hips sink back towards the heels, take a little bit of a bow here, again, to stretch up the shoulders. And then we'll float our body back to tabletop. Remember, your options in the hands are to rise up on your fingertips, rounding through the knuckles, or take a strong fist and punch your knuckles into the ground to help decompress the wrists. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow. You can continue to keep the tops of the feet flat to the floor, or tuck your toes under if you want to give your feet a little bit of a stretch. The inhale relaxes the belly. We lift and lengthen from the tip of the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. On our exhale, draw the belly into the body, tuck the tail, round the back, drishti to the belly button. Your breath is your guide, so you should be moving in and out of this pose with a nice fluid inhalation and exhalation. And if one of those feels really great for our back today, there's no reason why we can't hang out in that pose a little bit longer, Maybe do a little lateral movement side to side. So let's balance ourselves out. One more of each, and we'll come back to neutral position. From there, again, walk your hands about 1 hand's distance forward. Tuck the toes under, round the low belly in, and press the ground away from you to float those hips up, back, and down. Our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a moment here to pedal your heels, dropping one heel at a time, bending the alternate knee. Remember to keep rooting through the mound of the index finger and thumb, but externally rotate the upper arm bones away from the ears. Let the neck be long and the head's floating. Feel the extension from the inner armpit all the way down the side bodies. Round low belly into back body. Belly can move towards the thighs, bringing the thigh bones back and shifting that weight down the backs of the low legs. Let's just hold the pose in stillness for a moment. Whether your heels touch or not doesn't matter. If you have a lot of tension in the low back, just bend your knees more deeply. Now on this next inhale, we're going to do some articulation and warm the whole body by flowing in and out of a plank pose. So what I mean by articulation is I want you to move your body like a wave. So on the inhale, I want you to float your heels up, lift the hips up a little higher, roll through your low back, your mid back, your upper back. The head should be the very last thing that extends forward as you come into plank pose. If you need to wiggle your feet back a little bit more so you get into your alignment, go ahead and do so. And then we'll reverse that wave. So I'm going to start by tucking my chin to my chest, puffing up the back of my heart, and rolling through my upper back, mid back, low back, hips, all the way down the backs of the legs to the heels. That's my exhale. Inhale, float those heels up. Lift the hips up, roll, low back, mid back, upper back, crown of the head extends straight forward, plank pose. Exhale, tuck the chin, poof up the space between your shoulder blades, roll through your spine all the way down the back to those hips and back to the heels. One more with our breath. This is a great way to really get everything to wake up this morning. Waking up all the muscles of the body, rolling through those joints. We'll meet back in downward facing dog for a breath. Next inhale, one more time. Lift those heels up, roll it forward into our plank pose, and we'll hold plank for an additional breath. You're welcome to drop to the knees, but don't collapse the core. Continue to scoop the tailbone under, and your head should be in line with the spine. We are going to lower down to our bellies here, so if you want to take a chaturanga, you bend your elbows straight to the body, and you try to hover the body parallel to the floor, and then we'll lower down into our bellies and point the toes. Flatten out the tops of the feet. Remember to keep your feet nice and wide if you do take care of the low back, or zip the toes and heels to touch like the tail of a snake. Hands are right underneath the shoulders, elbows squeeze in, chin is to the mat. On the inhale, float your heart up. Keep the back of the neck long, strengthening and toning the upper back, mid back, low back. Your glutes are active here. They're not unconsciously clenched, but they're helping to support you. Now we're going to try to hold Bhujangasana for several breaths and then add some variations this morning. So continue to have nice strong legs and a strong back. Float your hands up next to your shoulders, squeeze your elbows in. Crown of the head is extending forward. Locust with the arms. Reach your arms back towards your heels. The palms are facing down. Continue to draw the shoulder blades together. Half locust. Right leg stays straight. Try to squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings to lift your right leg up from the floor. Exhale it down. Try the left side. Leg stays straight. You're activating the glutes and the hamstring, low back. Lift it up. Exhale it down. Repeat one more time with each leg, or Purna Shalabhasana, full locust. Inhale, the legs lift together, the arms lift, the heart is lifting, toning, strengthening the whole back of the body, improving our posture and our spinal health, energizing poses. Give me one more big breath in. On the exhale, we'll flop to the floor in prone shavasana. Option to turn the head to one side. Let your big toes touch and just let your heels fall open. Arms flop to the floor, palms up. Give your hips a little wiggle. Take a big belly breath. So as you inhale, try to inflate the abdomen. That will actually translate into your low back. You'll feel your low back poof up. And then exhale, let it go. One more breath. Carefully turn your head the opposite direction to counter twist the neck if it's turned. Inhale, chin forward, hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes under, tuck the tailbone under, pull those inner abdominal muscles in tightly, and we'll try to push ourselves straight back up to kneeling or your full plank. Hold for a breath. Inhale, let's float those hips up nice and high. Bend your knees slightly to stretch out our back. You're more than welcome to drop to your knees and do a gentle child's pose if that feels better for the back. Pedal your heels. And then pause in our resting pose, whatever that looks like for you, for a breath. Next inhale, we'll look forward. Baby step, feet to hands, hands to feet, our first forward fold. If you want to modify, keep your knees bent and place your elbows or your hands on your thighs if you're done being upside down or if that's a little too much for your low back. Otherwise, some of us can try to strengthen and straighten the legs, nice active toes, and ragdoll, reaching for opposite elbows or releasing your arms and your head towards the ground. So this is still an inversion, so just make it work for you today. Make sure your feet are parallel to each other. Pick up your toes to energize. Unlock those knees. Now's a nice time to think about those lower bandhas. So Mula Bandha is the root lock of the pelvic floor, engaging and squeezing up through the perineum muscles. Uddiyana bandhas are lower abdominal locks, so just below the belly button, pulling those muscles in and up to protect the back. And speaking of the back, let's do a little bit of our back strengthening here. On the inhale, halfway lift, so hands to shins or higher. Just like Cobra Pose, I want you to engage your back muscles to open the heart and extend the crown forward. Exhale, you'll go back to your fold. This also helps regulate our blood pressure from being upside down for a while. Inhale, halfway lift. Squeeze, strong legs. If you want more, locust your arms beside the torso, palms face in. Good. Exhale, fold. Just one more. Inhale, halfway lift, squeeze those back muscles. This exhale will sit us back to Utkatasana, reaching your arms forward and up. Shrug your shoulders from your ears. Remember, if you ever get lightheaded or dizzy, just sit down to the ground. So the neck is long, head is floating. Option to bring your hands in front of your heart if you have a lot of tension around your neck and shoulders today. Or we'll keep our arms extended if we want to do a little bit more strengthening. So start with the foundation, knees pointing to toes, toes pointing straight forward, rounding front body to back body and lengthening the upper buttock towards the ground. Let's get our brain going here. So our little bit of balance work without too much leaning. See if you can just squeeze to hover your right foot from the floor. Bring it down. Let's try the left foot. Bring it down. Let's try to sink a little further back and down, sitting in that invisible chair. And then next inhale, extended mountain. Reaching and lengthening the whole body up towards the ceiling. Straighten the legs, extend your fingertips up, take your drishti slightly up into a little bit of extension. Turn your palms out. Exhale, go right into Tadasana, mountain pose. Pause for a moment. Just notice any sensations in the body and the breath. Face should be nice and relaxed. Gaze is super steady. Feet nice and active. Pick up those toes if you want to energize a little bit more. Remember, we want to avoid jamming the knees backwards. Unlock them. Pulling up through the front of the thighs, the pelvic floor, the low belly, lengthening the back body down. So just a little bit more balance work here. Some gentle balancing movements. Palm tree pose. The inhale re-extends the arms out wide and overhead, but this time we'll float our heels up. Try to come up on your tippy toes. Bring your palms to touch, and as you exhale, lower the heels and the hands to the heart. 2 more. Inhale, big reach. Strengthening those calves, the ankles, and the feet. Exhale. 1 more. Let's lift up as high as we can. Good. Exhale, meeting in Samastitihi. So let's get into some of our bigger leg work now that we've warmed our body. This is where you might want to grab some props. I'm going to start with my chair today, and you might have to rearrange yourself on your yoga mat. We're going to come into our wide stance, so if you need to turn on your mat so that your feet are in a nice safe position and they're not slipping out on you, go ahead and do so. If you have your yoga blocks, you'll place them about shoulder width apart on the floor in front of you. Now when we start in neutral position, you just step your feet out nice and wide here. And I want us to start with the feet running parallel to each other. So your toes are actually pointing forward. Arms are extending up from the shoulders. No tension in the face or the neck. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. This is where the movement's gonna come from. We're literally gonna try to tip and pour at the pelvis. But now turn your toes slightly in. Prasarita Pada Tadasana, or standing straddle pose. So when we turn our toes in, it internally rotates our thighs, which is helpful to get into that anterior tilt here in the pelvis. No dipping and rounding of the spine. I want you to lead with the chest. So open up the heart, breathe it in. Now on the exhale, tip from those hips. You're still pulling that low belly in to support your back. Just come halfway. Pause. Inhale, create more length through the front of the spine. Your legs should be nice and strong. Pick up those toes. Make sure you're rooting through the mound of the big toe inner heel and mound of the pinky toe and outer heel. And then as your breath takes you into the pose, you might go a little further. So option to bring fingertips to your props or to the floor. I usually cue fingertips because we tend to place a palm down on the ground. We shift all our weight to our arms, and I want you to stay connected to the legs and the lower abdominals. Receiving the stretch up the backs of the legs and the inner thighs. If you found the floor with your fingertips, drishti can stay right underneath the tip of the nose, pulling the blood at the base of the skull. Or you might walk your hands between your feet, fingertips in line with the toes, and from there, contracting the abdominal muscles even more, drawing the belly towards the thighs, and you can look between your legs, releasing the head towards the ground. It is another inversion, so just be mindful of blood pressure, heart conditions. Let's all take 1 more cycle of breath in the pose. So that's a full breath in. You might even lift up a little bit. And a full breath out. Next inhale, we all will lift up a little bit into your halfway lift. So if you've gone further into it, walk your fingertips back forward. Try to lift up through the chest, nice strong legs, even a slight bend in the knees. Exhale, bring 1 hand at a time to your hips. And then inhale, make sure you're breathing in to come up all the way through the crown of the head. Try to inhale even more air, reach your arms up. Big, big, big breath in. And then exhale, palms come back down, float your arms parallel to the floor. So we'll move right into Trikonasana. And actually, if you need to move props around for triangle pose, go ahead and do so now. So if you're using a block, place it over to your right-hand side of your mat. We'll do the right side first. And then we'll come back to neutral position, parallel your feet, so point those toes back towards the long edge of your yoga mat. Shoulders shrug away from the ears. Picking up those right toes, turn your right toes to the front of your mat, externally rotating that right thigh. So you're opening up, contracting through that outer thigh to the glute. Unlock those knees to make sure you're not collapsing in your right knee. Take the pelvis into a tilt, drawing that right hip crease inward. You want to keep equal length through your side body, so I'm not rounding into my right side. I'm supporting myself with my abdominals. Inhale, extend it, Utthita Trikonasana. Exhale, you can take unsupported triangle, windmilling the arms, bringing that bottom hand to the inner knee or thigh, extending the top hand up. Again, if you're going to use a prop today, try to just rest on your fingertips instead of shifting all your weight down into that bottom hand. The head should be an extension of the spine, the neck stays long, drishti is down, forward, or upwards, and then there's a little bit of rotation through that torso. So it's almost like we're trying to lean into an invisible wall behind us. Pick up those toes, activate both feet. The lower bandhas or locks can still be engaged, lifting in and up to support the body. So we're receiving this stretch up the back and inner thigh of the right leg. One more breath. This next inhale is really important. If you have your hand resting on something, float your fingertips nice and lightly, strong legs and core. Inhale to pull yourself up out of the pose. Turn your right toes forward, neutral position. Pick up the left toes, turn them to the other end of the yoga mat. So you're opening up that left thigh, contract through that outer thigh. Tilt the pelvis as you draw your left hip crease inward. Lengthen the left side as you inhale to extend. Exhale, Trikonasana. Windmill your arms. Ideally, we'd have symmetry here, so we should be in the same position on this side as we were our first side. Even if you can go farther on this side, I would recommend keeping the symmetry in your body. Active feet, active legs. Rotate through the torso, pulling left rib cage forward, right rib cage back. Keep the neck long. Adjust your drishti, whichever way is best for your neck. Receiving that stretch of the back inner thigh now of the left leg, and a gentle twist, rolling the heart open. One more complete cycle of breath. Next inhale is really important. If you've shifted your hand onto a prop, float your fingertips as light as you can get them. Inhale pulls us up out of the pose. Left toes turn forward. Exhale, take a break. Swing your arms gently, roll your shoulders, noodle them around. And then we'll heel toe, step, step, step our feet all the way together. Next pose, Parsvottanasana, sometimes called pyramid pose. So if you've already moved your prop over to the left side of your mat, you can keep your props there. And that's where we'll start. So instead of starting from neutral, we'll just turn to face the short end of our yoga mat. So you'll face your props at the short end of your yoga mat. We'll come back to Tadasana. So a little bit of space between your feet. Toes are pointing straight forward. And we'll keep that space between our feet. Hands to hips. Float your head on top of your shoulders. Step your right foot behind you a couple feet. So it's not a full lunge. It's a shorter stance. Your right toes will angle out slightly, maybe 10, 15 degrees. Your hip should still stay square to the front of your mat. So right hip forward, left hip back. Again, we've moved from the hips. We don't duck and round through the spine into this pose. So take a hold of your pelvis, open the chest, inhale, and on the exhale, try to pour your pelvis forward. We're not hyperextending though, so I'm still rounding my low belly in. Go halfway. Unlock those knees, pull up through the thighs. Inhale, create more length in the front of the spine. And on the exhale, maybe you find some space to move into. So you should feel this up the back of the left thigh, the hamstring, all the way up into the hip. Continue to let your exhale guide you. You also want to keep your hips and low back as flat as possible. If you don't feel it just yet, maybe shift your weight forward or back and try to balance equally on both feet. As the body opens up to the pose, we might be able to take it a step further. If you're bringing your fingertips to the floor, you're engaging those abdominals to try to bring the belly closer to the thigh. Drishti to the big toe. And if you've reached that part of the pose, at that point, you can do a gentle rounding, engaging the throat lock, Jalandhara Bandha, bringing the chin towards the chest, and trying to press your forehead into that front knee, your left knee. But continue to pull your left thigh bone up and back into that hip socket. One more breath. Really important to have strong legs, strong core. Inhale, halfway lift. So those of you that have rounded, walk your fingertips back forward. Take some weight out of those fingertips. Open up the chest. The exhale brings one hand at a time to your hips. And then inhale, use your legs and the strength of the core to lift up through the crown of the head. Exhale, right foot steps forward. Tadasana, extend your fingertips down. Gaze to the horizon. And simply observe the effects that that pose had on the body, the breath, and the brain. Hands to hips. Keep that distance between the feet. Take your left foot back a couple feet. So the left foot will be angled out just ever so slightly, but continue to draw your left hip forward, right hip back, so the hips are square into the front of the mat. Take a hold of your pelvis, open the chest. Don't hyperextend though, don't thrust your low ribs forward. Continue to pull them in. Inhale, create some space. Exhale, pours the pelvis forward, moving into that space. Again, stop about halfway. The inhale lengthens the front of the spine. Make sure you're drawing the energy up the legs. And then exhale, maybe there's some availability to go a little further. So this side is much tighter for me, my right leg. So I still want to try to find as much balance from my first side to my second side. Try to level out the hips and the low back so you're not sinking into one hip or the other. You might shift your weight slightly front to back to see how that affects the stretch up the back of the right leg. Those of you that are moving along the journey here and your fingertips are towards the floor, you frame the right foot with the fingertips. You can track the abdominal muscles even more, drawing the belly towards the thighs. Either drishti to the big toe or eventually tucking the chin to the chest, Jalandhara Bandha, and trying to press the forehead to the knee. And that will stretch a little bit deeper of the connective tissue up the back side of the body. A little harder to breathe if you have your throat locked. Just take little sips of air in and out through the nose. One more breath. Inhale, we need to re-engage. Halfway lift, open the chest, super strong legs and core. Find your fingertips. The exhale will bring one hand at a time to your hips. And then inhale, press off that front foot. Big breath in to float the crown of the head up. Exhale, step left foot forward, feet parallel. Extend the arms down, Tadasana, and just pause here. And then exhale, release. So let's clear our space. We'll do one more balancing pose while we're upright here. So make sure you have a nice safe space to balance in. And we'll do a gentle hip opener in our balance. So vrikshasana or tree pose. So once you're in your space, this time try to bring the insides of the feet and legs to touch. I'm still drawing front body to back body, lifting up through those pelvic floor muscles. On the inhale, just draw a nice big circle, arms out wide, all the way up towards the ceiling. Bring your palms to touch. Exhale the hands into Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Fix your gaze on one spot. Compact those hips, float the right heel up, and at the hip, try to point the knee out to the side. So you're pulling up from the outer knee to outer hip to help open the front of the thigh. Choose your variation today. Toes down, sole of the foot softly to the lower leg, or placing the foot to the inner thigh. Avoid placing the sole of the foot on your standing knee. Be mindful of what your capabilities will be on the next side. So if you can only go so far on our next side, again, I would suggest only going that far on this side, even if this side can do more. Bring balance back to your body. Relax the face and the eyes. If we want to add some variations today, we can let our branches grow up towards the sky. We might already be blowing in the breeze, or we might create some gentle movement here. Even more of a challenge, take chin mudra in the hands, or seal of wisdom or knowledge, reaching the arms up and then blinking the eyes closed. Let's just see what happens. Challenge yourself. Really healthy for the brain, just gotta be safe. Let's take one more breath in. Exhale brings the palms to touch, hands back to the front of the heart. Point the knee forward, lift that thigh up without leaning back. Try to extend the foot straight forward for 3, 2, 1. Lower the foot down, Samastitihi, standing stillness, no fussing, unnecessary movements. Keep your concentration. Compact those hips, float the left heel up. Again, opening at the hip, so pulling up from outer knee to outer hip to open the front. Try to find your symmetry here, so this foot should go into the same exact position as you were on your first side. Face is relaxed, gaze is steady. Adding a variation of arms reaching up. Adding some movement if you want to challenge yourself. And then maybe practice a little bit of our blind balancing today. Index finger to thumb, our seal of wisdom. Blinking the eyes, and eventually trying to close the eyes. You'll notice that the body starts to shake and quiver. Those are all our stabilizer muscles waking up, our brain trying to figure out where we are in space. Notice the breath. Big breath in. Palms touch, hands to heart. Point that knee forward, lift the thigh up, extend the foot straight forward for 3, 2, 1. Bring it down, Samastitihi, pause in stillness. And then release. All right, how are we doing on time? So let's do our big hip stretch, Kapottanasana or pigeon pose. I'll move into pigeon pose through downward facing dog, but I know doing prone pigeon isn't for everybody in their knees. So if you're going to modify today, you'll just come down onto your back, you'll organize yourself. You'll do figure 4 pose, so you can extend your right leg up. The foot will be actively flexing. You'll cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh and encourage the right thigh away from you. To deepen, you'll float the left leg up, wrapping your hands behind the hamstring and extending the left heel up, or holding behind or over your left shin, excuse me. So that's your modification, and you'll follow along from side to side. Those of us that want to move through downward facing dog will come back towards the front of our yoga mat in Tadasana, setting our intention and our posture for the rest of our day right here. Give me another big breath in and reach those arms up to the ceiling. One more nice long body stretch. Exhale, micro bends the knees, hinge from the hips, back to your forward fold, Uttanasana. Give yourself a moment here to release tension in the neck, the shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. This exhale, we'll plant our hands, take a big step back, 1 foot at a time, downward facing dog. Pause for a moment, get into your alignment here. And then we'll inhale, float the right leg up. The exhale is going to pull the right knee forward under the body. You're moving into that runner's plank. And then you angle your right knee out to the long edge of your yoga mat behind the right wrist. This thigh bone should be moving out maybe 20 degrees or so. Right foot can be active. Slide your left foot a little further back behind you, coming down to the knee and the top of the foot. Place the prop under your right hip if you need a little bit more support. Some people might be able to bring their right shin bone more forward so that it's parallel to the front edge of your yoga mat. Don't force this pose. You should not feel anything in and around the knee. If you do, slowly come out, lie on your back, and do the pose. So we're allowing the hips to track equally towards the ground, especially through the low back. I'm rooting that tailbone towards the earth. From here, I might be able to move my upper body closer towards the ground. Feel free to place some pillows, a yoga block in front of you to help support the head. We will hold this pose for several moments. If you start to notice the jaw tensing, our jaw is related to our hips. If you're a jaw clencher, you're probably a hip clencher as well. Just open the mouth, let out a nice sighing breath. Breathing out any tension or tightness we might find. Take 2 more deep breaths in this pose. Use that exhale to breathe it all out. If you're lying on your back, you can re-extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. Drop the foot to the floor and just windshield wipe your knees side to side or happy baby, whatever feels best. If we're prone, use your hands to slowly come back up, draw in through that low belly. Tuck the back toes under and inch your back knee and foot slightly forward so you're shifting your weight back into those arms. Press the ground away from you so you take the weight off your right knee and then carefully stretch the right leg out. If you want to stir the pot a couple times or walk the dog one heel at a time, whatever you need to do to get the blood rushing back through that leg. And then other side. So on your back, extend the left leg up, actively flex that left foot, crossing left ankle over right thigh. Those of us in down dog will float the left leg up and pull the left knee forward. Plank. Turn the left knee out towards the long edge of your mat so the thigh is out at an angle. Left foot can be active. Slide that right foot a little bit further back behind you so that the hips can sink down to the ground equally. Support underneath the left hip if you're using a prop. And then flatten out the top of your right foot. The heel can actually sickle out a little bit. That leg can do a little softening and relaxation. And then again, we'll follow our breath, see what this side has in store for us. If you want to try to move the shin bone slightly forward, just do not compromise your knee joints. So we're stretching out those deep hip rotators, the piriformis. So this is a wonderful pose if you experience sciatic issues and that dull pain in the outer hip or down the leg. Again, we'll hold this side for several deep breaths. If you ever notice yourself starting to clench the jaw, just poof your cheeks, open mouth, exhale. Two more deep breaths in the pose. Last chance to clean it all out. Let it go. So again, if you're lying on your back after your next exhale, you'll inhale, re-extend the leg up to the ceiling to stretch out the knee. And then you can drop the foot down and rock side to side. If we're prone, use your hands, take your time, draw that low belly in. Tuck back toes under to inch your back leg further forward. So you can press into the ground with the upper half of the body, floating the knee and the leg up. And then any movement you'd like to do there to stretch out that leg and get the blood flowing back down through the left leg. And we'll catch up with you on our backs here in just a moment. So if you are on your back, you can stay there and wait for us. Down dog people, let's float our heels up, stretch out those feet one last time, stretching out the whole back of the body. Big breath in. Exhale, we'll drop the knees to the ground, point the toes, sitting back in a more traditional Balasana, child's pose. Sliding the tops of the hands back to the feet, bowing the hairline, crown of the head, more towards the top of the head, towards the ground. And then just drop the weight of your shoulders beside the body. Hands under shoulders, tuck the chin. Inhale, roll it up one vertebra at a time. Shifting our weight over to either hip and bringing those feet forward out in front of us. So at this point, those of you that have your strap, go ahead and get your strap ready. Have it next to your yoga mat. And you might want to gather up your goodies for Shavasana so you don't have to go search for them later. Just get things a little closer to you. To come down onto our backs today, remember the safest way to come down is to walk yourself down and then roll onto your back. If you want to join me for a little bit more strengthening for those abdominals to come down today, we'll sit on the ground, have space behind us, plant the feet to the floor. We let the knees open wider than the hips so the lower abdominals do more of the work. Extend the fingertips forward. So now I am going to round my back so I can articulate through the joints of the spine. So I'm scooping the tailbone under, hollowing out my belly, and just trying to go as slow as I can here. Rolling down to the sacrum, the lumbar spine, one vertebra at a time through the mid-back, the tips of the shoulder blades, the shoulders. Eventually the back of the head touches down. When it does, reach your arms all the way overhead and stretch your legs all the way out into long body stretch. Spread your toes and fingertips, let that low back gently arch, opening up the belly and the rib cage. Big breath in. And then exhale, we'll float those arms down. Walk your feet in, adjust your clothing, move your ponytails out of the way. Spine should be in a nice neutral position, shoulders are taking the weight. The neck is naturally curved up from the ground. Supta Padangusthasana, just the more basic version this morning. Take a hold of your prop, your strap, pull the right knee in, and then take that strap across the lower arch of the foot more towards the heel. I personally like to reach up towards the top of my yoga strap, loop it around my hands. I want you to have the strap in each hand so the heart stays open. And then I just let my arms dangle beside me, and the weight of my arms is drawing down through that lower arch. Now we got to get that leg straight. So some of us might need to let the leg fall away from us until we can open up the eye of the knee. From there, we'll start with just the hamstring stretch. To deepen the stretch, slide your left heel forward to the front of your yoga mat. That foot is also actively flexing, toes to shin bone, anchoring the left leg to the ground. Relax the face and the throat. And then take the strap in the right hand. Left side must stay grounded. Place your left hand on your left hip as a reminder. So nice strong left side, the low back stays flat. Bend your right elbow out. Try to get your thigh bone to move upwards. So bend at the knee if needed. And then open your thigh out about 45 degrees to the right. From there, you can try to re-extend the leg, receiving a nice stretch across the inner thighs, the groin, and the front of the pelvis. Left arm reaches out from the shoulder, head turns to the left. Take a couple deep breaths. Inhale brings the head and the leg back up. Switch hands, left hand holds on. Again, the leg is straight, the low back is flat to the ground. Anchor the right hip, moving the leg diagonally across the midline, getting into our IT band in this outer hip area. Move that leg around in that space till you find those sweet spots. Massage those muscles or punch into them with a soft fist. And then we'll move into our twist. So the leg probably will not touch the ground. Again, your left elbow can be a kickstand. We'll bring the leg over, the right hip will lift up. Keep your right shoulder connected towards the ground. Extend the right arm out from the shoulder, look to the right. We can even close the eyes and just start to let gravity do the work here, but do keep tension on your strap. So relaxing the muscles around the face, the mouth, the jaw. Feel the weight of the body sinking towards the ground. Inhale, head and leg come up. Open that strap up. Slide the left foot in and place it up. Pause here in waterfall pose to neutralize and realign the body. Other side, the strap settles down into that lower arch of the left foot closer to the heel. Bring your right foot to the floor. Open up the eye of the left knee all the way through that inner leg from the inner groin to the inner heel. From there, holding the strap in both hands, adjusting your arms, whatever feels best for the shoulders. Slide your right heel straight forward. Actively flex the right foot to deepen the stretch, focusing on the back of the left leg first, hamstring stretching. And then take a hold of that strap in the left hand, right hand to hip, anchor your right side down. Again, we want the thigh bone moving more towards the upper half of the body, so we might need to bend the knee a little bit. From there, elbow bends, kickstand it down, open the left leg to the left, right side stays anchored down, and then try to re-extend the left leg from there. Right arm can reach out from the shoulder, head turns to the right. The inhale will float the leg up. Switch hands. Outer thigh stretching, leg stays straight. It's at a diagonal. Feel free to move around in that space a little bit until you find the place that you're getting into that deep stretch of that connective tissue. Massage into that area, soft punching. And then we'll take it into the twist, drop the elbow down, keep tension on the belt. Let the left hip come down, but anchor your left shoulder to the ground. Left arm reaches out from the shoulder. The head can turn to the left. Even closing the eyes here, start to relax the face, the throat, shoulders sinking into the earth. Let gravity do the work. One more nice deep breath. And then inhale, we'll float that left leg and the head back up to neutral. Open the strap up, slide the right foot in and up, and pausing in waterfall pose again with both legs up towards the ceiling. And then go ahead and bend those knees. You can take the strap and place it off to the side of the mat. Hug those knees in for a moment and then cross one ankle over top of the other for dead bug pose. We'll re-extend the arms up towards the ceiling, but you just let your hands flop forward and let your fingertips flop. Maybe give them a little wiggle from holding on to our strap. Let the weight of the shoulders, the back of the head sink into the ground. And the thighs are just dropping back towards the body as well. And then switch the cross at the ankles. Take a couple more nice smooth breaths in and out through the nose. Letting the hands relax completely. Big belly breaths. Let the belly inflate as you inhale and deflate as you exhale. And then we'll uncross those legs. This time, try to reach up across those shin bones, taking hold of opposite elbows or rest. Float the nose up to the knees, giving our body a great big hug this morning. Filling ourselves up with gratitude and appreciation for everything our body just gave us in our practice today. Nice deep breath in. And on our exhale, we'll let it go. So we'll move ourselves into our final relaxation. Any place you want to be, go. I'll give us some options. If you're comfortable where you are, you can stay here, just organizing the shoulders. Remember, if you take care of your low back, it might be more comfortable to keep your knees bent up to the ceiling. Open the feet a little wider, turn the toes in, and let your knees drop together. If you want to continue with this area in the hips, bring the soles of the feet to touch, let your knees fall open about a Konasana. Sliding a bigger pillow underneath the legs can also help support that. Or slide your legs out all the way in Shavasana with the feet open, feet flopping open. And again, use your pillows, use your folded blankets, support the back of the head. If you have some sort of eye covering, use that to help The eyes rest and the body relax. I'll guide us through a little bit of relaxation here, and then I'll give us several moments of some peace and quiet. And then I'll use my singing bowl to bring us out of our relaxation to finish class together today. So I'll give us another moment here. Remember that we should put just as much effort going into this pose as we did every other posture we practiced today. Find symmetry in the body, right to left, left to right. Find the very back center of the skull. Poof the cheeks with air, wiggle out the mouth. Relaxing all the little muscles across the face, especially the forehead, the brow, and the eyebrow center. Resting the mind's eye at the third eye center, the place between the brow, our place of intuition and wisdom. Relax the throat. Feel an opening across the front of the heart and the chest. Release the weight of the shoulders as you relax from the shoulders to the elbows, elbows to the backs of the hands. Fingertips curling up naturally, feeling the energy at the centers of our palms. Relax down the back, vertebra by vertebra, feeling the natural waves of the spine, releasing the low back to the ground. Relax around the waist, into the belly. Relax all of the abdominal muscles and the internal organs. Noticing a subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Relax the larger muscles of the buttocks, the hips and hip sockets. And just like water, let that relaxation trickle all the way down the legs, behind the knees, into the shins, the calves, the ankles. Relax the feet and all of the toes. Notice the energy at the soles of the feet. Relax the whole body. Soften and relax the inside of the body. The breath becomes easy, quiet, and calm. If the mind wanders, gently bring it back to the peaceful breath, or rest the mind's eye at the third eye center, giving ourselves just one more moment to let go, to feel a sense of surrender, and to simply be and breathe. We'll gently start to come back to the breath. And breathing life back into the body as we wake up our toes and fingertips. A gentle rock of the head side to side, rolling the ankles and the wrists. The inhale extends the arms back overhead into our long body stretch. Spread those fingers, spread those toes. Create as much space in the body as possible, side to side and front to back. The exhale floats those arms down. Walk the feet in. And then draw the knees into the body to massage the back side to side. Right arm falls beside the head, rolling all the way over to our right side, pausing in Supta Balasana, sleeping baby pose. Keeping the eyes closed or soft, press down into the ground to bring the body back up, where we will revisit any comfortable seated posture today. Sitting up on our sit bones and nice and tall through the crown of the head. Being mindful of our surroundings, re-extend the arms up from the body, palms up. Take another nice big breath in as we reach those arms up and gather up everything we need for the rest of our day. Turning those palms back out, even bigger breath out to float the fingertips all the way back down to the floor and to let go of all that other junk we don't need today. And let's take one more big breath together, inhaling those arms up. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale, hands to Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Humbly bow the head down towards the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, being grateful and thankful to those that are doing all the hard work behind the scenes and making it possible for us to continue to practice our yoga together. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om, peace, peace, peace. And I thank each and every one of you for your continued support. It means a great deal to those of us still wanting to share yoga with you all. And then also an opportunity to stay connected here with our yoga community. So I normally teach Wednesday evenings, 6 to 7:15, and Sunday mornings, 9:30 to 10:45. So if you want to join me at those times, I'd love to have you. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to share. And I hope that felt okay for you all today.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome, Anu. So nice to have you.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. So nice to see you, Doug, Chaya, Karen, Marcia.
Hi, everybody. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Hi, puppy. Enjoy the beautiful day. It's another gorgeous day.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're so welcome. Nice to have you in class. Yeah. And
Puppy.
good job, you guys. I hope you had a nice Mother's Day, by the way, too. So if I didn't see you yesterday, I got to teach on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to you moms out there.